The next thing I want to teach you guys is the effects panel, okay? So to go back and forth, transitions, you click here, effects, you click here. So what are some of these different effects? Well, we have a lot of different effects here, and right now here is all. So if I have this video clip, okay, and let's say I wanted to do some 50s TV, right? If I just click and hover over it, in my preview window here, you can see what that would look like, okay? So it definitely whitewashes a lot out. It looks like 50s TV, okay? Maybe I add some noise, meaning like it's a little bit of that, gives it a little popcorny kind of feel to it. You can see it in the black. Aged paper, okay? Like, interesting. I don't know why you would use this one, but I'm sure you could. Aged film, okay. Alien lab, right? So there's a bunch of different effects that you can use here, okay? So, bleach, bypass, bloom, okay? So let's go ahead and pick one of these. Let's try, yeah, cartoon. This one's kind of funny. So if I click this and I actually want to add it to my clip, I just click and drag it over and drop it in. Now you can see this clip has that cartoony kind of look to it, okay? So really kind of cool that you can add a bunch of these effects by just clicking and dropping. So let's go ahead and go through some of these other ones. There's keying, okay, so a luma key. If I go ahead and click and drag that in there, you can see how that luma key affects. So if I'll show you a better way to do this. We'll go back to the regular clip and we'll drag our luma key in there. You can see how it has darkened the clip, okay? If I want to just do a here, okay, or add both of them, see how much more darker that gets, right? So you're keying out some of the main footage there, especially the white and highlights. So it's really kind of interesting to play around with a bunch of these. There's different masks, okay? So if I drop in a draw mask, okay, you can use these different masks. And let's go undo all of this. And let's just do a shape mask, okay? So you can see now that it just has masked out everything else. And that gives you a very interesting look, right? How about let's undo that, a graduated mask, just to play around with this. You can see how it's blocked off everything in the bottom. Maybe we just do that draw mask. So those are just some of the masks. We didn't get to doing necessarily draw mask stuff. That's for more advanced tutorials where you can actually draw around. So if I do a mask here, okay, and I want to draw around a subject, I can draw around my subject to mask them in and out. So there'll be more tutorials on how to do that in future tutorials. But for right now, these are just all of the different effects. And here's a really cool one, kaleidoscope. Okay, so if I click and drag that on there, you can see I have this kaleidoscope effect, right? So it's like really interesting to even play with some of these, right? So we can do like the tile effect, okay? So it's a kaleidoscope and a tile effect. So you can overlap some of these, right? So let's just go back to the main footage here. Let's go here. Cool. Let's just try this tile effect, should I say? See how it gives you a tile, right? So it's a bunch of different tiles there. You can do an echo on top of the tile. See what that looks like. Okay. Not a whole lot of change there, but definitely interesting. There's audio, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and turn the audio on. If I wanted to maybe distort, right, or do some like television, let me go ahead and click and drag that onto the audio, okay? So before I do that, though, let's sound the audio. Now let's go ahead and do the television on top of that. So you can see it moved it down a little bit, okay? And it is added on, a kind of more television kind of sound. Let's go ahead and do the vintage radios. Drag that on. So you can now hear that it's like a vintage radio, right? And also it's made the decibels way up, okay? Let's try walkie-talkie. So then there it goes all the way down. So now it kind of sounds like this washed out weird walkie-talkie. There's different echoes that you can do, EQs, okay, so you can really, change the bass. If I drop this down, let's just hear that. Actually, let's get back to our main footage here. perfect. So let's do a bass enhancer. Okay, so let's like definitely pump up the bass. So you can definitely hear there's more of a bass there. It might be hard for you guys. Maybe let's try undo that. Let's try the muffled. Okay. So it sounds a little bit more muffled. So you can continue to keep playing around with some of these. There's lots of them. Okay, so really kind of neat, some of these different effects. You know, there's just so much to go into, but that's how you use these. You just simply, you know, click and drag them. And I now want to get to the last thing that I'm going to talk about here with effects is a LUT. Okay, so I have this LUT that I've downloaded from the internet, and there's a few steps to doing that. But if I click this LUT and I drag it on here, you're going to see that I can now use additional LUTs and color grading for my LUTs. Okay, so basically, if I were to click here, I now have my LUT by motion up. So if I click on load a custom LUT, if I have created my own LUT, and if you're confused right now, and I apologize for talking a little bit fast, a LUT stands for lookup table. Basically, what a LUT is it's color grading. It's like a filter, right? So if you've used Instagram or maybe some of these other social media platforms, Twitter, whatnot, not Twitter, Snapchat would be a better example. You can filter, right? It's basically putting on a custom filter. So if I click on the LUT library here, you can see there's like Badlands, cold water, right? And it's making this, you know, maybe more dramatic, right? This is a bad example here. Let me put it here. That's better. So if I go to Frontier, see how it made it a little bit more blue? If I go to Badlands, it makes it a little bit lighter blue. If I go to here, it makes it a little bit more tealy, right? Dramatic here, a little bit more blue. Cold water, even darker blue. So these are these LUTs that you can just put right on, and it helps color grade your footage. So if you're interested in how to actually get a LUT, do you want to apply this LUT? No, I do not. If you're interested in how do I get a LUT effect, you would do a very similar thing to the transitions where you'd go on the internet, you'd find a LUT, you'd have to download the LUT, and then you would put your LUT in the effects. So let me actually share with you exactly how to do that. So here's the website, motionvfx.com, and if you want to get this LUT that I just showed you, the plugin for Final Cut Pro, you can get it now. It's free. So you can watch the trailer, watch the tutorial. It shows you step by step how to do it. But let's go ahead and we get it to free. You add it to your cart. So you go to the cart here. Okay, so you can see I have my login and password. You'd log in and then you would download it. Okay, so from there though, what happens next? You have to find it from your downloads. Okay, and if this isn't making sense, there's always a tutorial and trailer there. But let me show you the next steps here when you actually find your LUT, and then where do you put it in Final Cut Pro to have it appear in your effects tab. So once you find your LUT from your downloads, you want to go back into your movies. You then want to go into motion templates, but then you want to go to your effects folder. Now you can see I have the LUT effect here, and if I double click on this, here's the LUT, and then it has all the different pieces that I need for this plugin. So it's very similar to adding transitions. You can also add in plugin titles. So I haven't gone through exactly how to potentially do that, but it's the exact same way. Same thing with generators. This is how you add these plugins. Hopefully this is very helpful to you, and I look forward to teaching you guys more in our next video. Stay tuned.